Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode in Romanian Culture Cars. We start Motorsport International. Our first guest is Filip Vava. Hello, Filip.
Hello.
Filip Vava, driving in GT competition, especially in GT4 series, will tell us a couple of secrets about his motorsport career, what he started, and other things to do. Guys, Motorsport People is a new project on Romanian Culture Cars when we promote drivers, staffs, mechanics, fans, and other motorsport people here in Romanian Culture Cars, in Motorsport International, and also in our vlogs if you want to watch my YouTube channel. Philip, let's start with a little describe about you.
So, yes, as you know, I'm Filip Vava. I'm currently racing in GT4 category with NM Racing Team with the Mercedes AMG GT4. I've started my GT4 racing in 2021. And before that, I started my motorsport career in around 2011, 2012 with karting, where I first started competing in the Madrid Regional Championship. And then from there, I moved on to the Spanish National Championships, Portuguese Championship, moved on to the European and international level of karting, where then from 2021, I made a big step into car racing to GT4. And from then on till now, I'm currently competing in GT4.
All right, how you start the motorsport career, and of course, what is your favorite driver to convince you to start motorsport career? Your model, like I say.
To answer the first part, well, I started still young when I was around 9, 10 years old. Started with karting, where first started driving around for fun, just because of a very strong passion of mine. I've always liked cars, always played with Hot Wheels, with toy cars, all the racing video games on the PS2 back in the day. So I have this passion and addiction for cars, and I guess to answer the second part of the question, my main idol that helped me make this step into
Yes,
motorsport
yes.
at the time was Sebastian Vettel. When I started karting in 2011, he was kind of the young gun in the championship in Formula One, dominating, winning, beating the likes of Hamilton, beating Button, beating Alonso. And me at the time living in Spain, Alonso was, let's say, the main fan base in Spain. Most people in Spain obviously supported Alonso at the time, and Vettel, just having Vettel keep like beating him, and never. I was kind of the black sheep in the crowd, where I was kind of the only person in Spain supporting Vettel at the time. So it was felt nice, kind of standing out and being different from everybody else, kind of like what Vettel was, being so young and being so dominant at that time in F1 was different from everybody else.
And that's for sure. In that moment, you have a team, HRT, Hispania Racing Team, also Pedro de la Rosa competing, also Jaime Alguersuari competing in that
Yeah.
2011. So it's gonna be amazing for Spanish to have team and
Mm.
drivers in Formula
Yeah.
One, and of course in GT, Alex Ribera, Sandy Sushek, Marc Gené driving in WTCC, and other drivers who
Yeah.
represent Spain very very well. Of course, Jorge Carberas, let's not forget him because he will competing in FI Motorsport Games this year for Spain. So good luck, Jorge, if you're watching our interview. Um, what you need to do, what you recommend, like I say, for a young driver to start motorsport? Which competition, which events, which track, which cars? What you recommend?
Well, yeah.
You
So
recommend what you start or not?
I I feel like I've gone for my background, which was very minimal motorsport. I feel like I've gone down the best route. So the route that I went down, I recommend for many people that want to start in motorsport and that don't have a strong motorsport family background, let's say, is starting off in a racing school or in a karting school, as I like to call them. Always you have to do your research and kind of figure out where your local tracks are around you, what kind of organizations or companies do this kind of where they support the development and for kids and helping them start in the first place. So it's a very tricky subject. In some countries, obviously much more available than others. So I've been in Spain recently as motorsports has started to become a very big thing. These are very readily available, where maybe in some other regions is not as much. But there's always a way to start somewhere, and making that first step. And taking that passion that you have as a kid and converting to something is always easier to do when you don't have the passion for it. So by using that passion and dedication, that love for cars that a kid has, the best way to start is in a racing school or karting school, and from there you get taught the basics of how to drive the go-kart, and then from there on you start getting introduced to a few races here and there, so you actually get to understand what the racing dynamic looks like. And then once you've kind of gone those first year or two of, let's say, exploration and like a steep learning curve, that's where you want to start getting into more serious racing, such as national championships.
I understand. I understand. Okay. Now it's another good question for you. In Spain, you have auto and motorcycle as a motorsport in region, country, and other things to do. What is the most popular sport? Is auto better than motorcycle, or motorcycle is better than auto?
Well, I don't believe in Spain. I don't believe there's which one's better, which one's worse. It's just the fact of accepting the difference in the similarities a sport have to each other. Um, I'd say that 10 years ago, the more popular of the two was motorcycle racing in Spain, because obviously, if you look at 10 years ago, motorcycle racing had a lot of Spanish riders in racing in MotoGP and in Moto2, Moto3,
War
Moto
Superbike?
or Superbike as well. Exactly, yes. As you know, the MotoGP calendar had four Spanish races in one year with Catalonia, Aragon, Valencia, and Jerez. So there's a very big popularity of motorcycles in Spain. And obviously in Formula One back in the day, you mainly had Fernando Alonso and Jaime Alguersuari, but it was still small compared to MotoGP. But I feel like recently now, with this massive explosion in Formula One and how popular it has become through social media and such, and through the show, um, there's a big popularity, like not shift, but Formula One has increased not only in Spain but globally in popularity and is making much more famous. And now in Spain, I feel like the viewers are very similar. It's quite even, I feel. And it's always interesting when you meet a motorcycle person, because you get to discuss the similarities the sports have as well as the differences they have. And that's what makes it so cool, because you just kind of see the different points of views and perspectives, and the regulations of the championships and the riders or drivers. And it's very cool just kind of to have these discussions with
I
people of different.
understand. I understand, and that's for sure. Motorsport in Spain is very, very popular. Also, in 2012, Formula One have a circuit, Barcelona, Catalonia, and Valencia, the street circuit, from
Yeah.
2008 to 2012. So that's for sure two Spanish Grand Prix in Formula One. That's for sure, and of course in other competitions as well, in touring car and GT also. Uh,
Yes.
exactly, exactly. Now we need to discuss a serious question, of course, a serious argue. In my country, the motorsport is being promoted by two phrases: "Street is not circuit," and champions are in circuit, not in the street. To tell people for the first time, of course, the people who don't see my interviews will see now these two phrases. In your opinion, what do we have to do to convince people to come on track days, to come on events, and to come to start motorsport? And how can we stop this to not race on the public roads?
Yes, it's a very touching subject. Obviously, it's a very delicate subject, because I believe the main reason as to why people are, racing on streets, or putting their own lives and other people's lives in danger on the streets, is mainly because of how motorsports is a bit of a it's a hard discipline to get into, and it's not easy to get into, not only because the tracks aren't close and the distance is a challenge, but it's also because of its monetary value and how much motorsport actually costs. um, Many are aware that there's obviously these track days that circuits all around the world organize, where you can bring your own car on the track and drive it at full speed safely, as it should be. But obviously, even that costs money, and there's some people that just don't have the economic funds or the budget to even do a track day, just because of how expensive it is. So there needs to be some kind of initiative, I believe, to reduce these road racing and reduce and increase safety on roads, there needs to be some kind of initiative where, the governments or the local councils or communities help organize these track days for people within the community to go, but at a cheaper cost and a much more affordable cost to the point where people are like, oh, okay, if I go here, that means I can drive full speed and have fun on the racetrack. And then once they've done that, they've kind of already, released all that, I guess, power from the car, that desire to go fast. And when they get in the road,
The
uh,
adrenaline also.
adrenaline, yes, you get to kind of, vent out all the adrenaline on the racetrack. And then once you get back on the road, it's like you start to appreciate more of like the safety and the organization that's gone into maintaining safety on a racetrack compared to a road. And I think that's something I've learned to appreciate a lot is when you drive on a racetrack, the amount of safety and all the money and investment gone into safety just to make sure that us drivers are safe. And then when you look at obviously the roads, the roads aren't designed for people to be driving at 200, 250 kilometers an hour. They're designed for people to drive at the speed limit. And if something happens at the speed limit, it's going to be safe. And the same goes for a track. A track has been designed for high speed racing, for anything to happen. So it gains appreciation, and people need to understand, especially from a young age, especially when in driving schools or when you want to get your license, it just needs to be repeated and accentuated over and over again that racing is for circuits and it's not for streets.
Okay, okay, exactly, and that's for sure, guys. You can talk with Filip Vava on social media if you want to ask him some questions. If you don't want to contact on social media, in the comment section down below, and you will take, and of course, a couple of Q&A sessions, question and answer to talk with him, and of course if you want to ask him about uh, the motorsport, the career, of course the safety on the road also, and other things to do. Philip, thank you so much to accept my invitation here on Motorsport International, especially here in Romanian Culture Cars. In the final, I want to tell me uh, a little argue about your fans, about your motorsport people, about everything. What do you say for motorsport fans?
Well, motorsport fans are, I think, the basis of motorsport. That's why motorsports exists, is because of the fans that come to support, to watch these races, to, come to the teams and say hi to the teams, to say hi to the drivers. And that's what at the end keeps us drivers and teams going, knowing that, we're going to show up to a race weekend and there's going to be people watching us, not only on the track, but also on broadcasts, on YouTube, on TV. And, that's, I think, that fan base and that support is always going to be very important, no matter what category you go to, because that's what grows the sport, as we've seen in Formula One, where over the last few years, because let's say Netflix, because of more social media interaction, more fans have come in, and now all of a sudden the sport has had this massive boom in popularity and has grown. Similar could be said for from a World Endurance Championship and for GT World Challenge, where they're starting to be more open in social media. They've reduced the costs of paddock entry, of like to watch the races, so it's made the races very accessible to see and let the fans be very close to the cars, the teams, and the drivers, and they get a very unique experience, and just helping attract a lot of people. And also, for example, small things such as broadcasting races and qualifying on YouTube, where it's free, so people can come on anytime and watch it for free and really enjoy the time. And that's very important, bringing the fans in. So as an organization who's organizing races, making it as accessible as possible to people who are not familiar with the sport to watch the sport, and that way build a bigger fan base and grow the popularity of the sport in general.
I understand, and a message for teams, fans, fan teams, and fan you, like I say,
Sorry?
a message for fans, for team fans, for your fans who watching you.
Well, first of all, just for those who've been supporting me up to now, thank you. Thank you for following the races. Thank you for the support. Thank you for all the push you've given me to give to so I can push towards these results and hopefully push onto more. And hopefully in the future, I'll be able to give you guys more entertainment, more fun.
All right, guys, and that's for sure. 2024 has been amazing for him. Let's see the 2025 how it goes. You have a lot of plans, and
Mhm.
that's for sure. You will tell us on social media what is the future plans with you and team, and also maybe you will have a GT3, GT3 expose, or maybe driving. Of course, maybe NM Racing have a plan to have a GT3 cars also. So why not, especially? But you will tell us on the social media, and of course, guys, follow NM Racing Team and Filip Vava also, and rest of the drivers from NM Racing Team and other motorsport people, like I say, drivers, stewards, fans, and other to know exactly what is next in motorsport because this is the question. Before we start the final sequel, um, if you have another message or another argue about what we talk about.
Honestly, no, it's been quite an enjoyable talk, 'cause especially I believe that the question you brought about road safety, I don't think that's mentioned quite a lot in motorsports. I think it's a quite unique question, like a, important question to think about, just among teams and amongst drivers as well. We mostly get, we receive questions about, how you started your motorsport career, how is racing going, et cetera, et cetera. But having these kind of important questions as to how motorsport has an impact on everyday life of, everyday people is very important to bring that connection between the community and motorsport.
And that's for sure. Motorsport is education in the
Yes.
in a few words, like I say. Guys,
Well,
this is the first episode here in Motorsport International. I will invite Filip Vava to invite other people for International. So if you want to come here and tell us your stories, your achievements, your results, or something like that, you can contact Filip Vava. After that, he will contact me, and of course we will set a time and a day to tell us your story and other things to do if you want to come here and tell how you start, how you finish, of course, and how you promote motorsport in all way you can promote it. Guys, thank you so much, and of course, let's not forget the updating motorsport is part of the everyone here in Motorsport International. In motorsport everywhere the community is being open to talk with drivers, teams, staffs, and other something need to do. Guys, thank you so much for coming here. Thank you also, Filip Vava, to come here on my first episode. I have a little emotion before we start, but after that, everything looks good for me and of course for Philip, and let's see how 2020, 2025, excuse me, coming up. Of course, let's see the rest of 2024 because we will have a couple of races left to go in all competitions. So the championship battles are so increase, and that's for sure. The battles will be decided on the last lap, on the last race, on the pace stop strategy. Of course, the pace stop strategy is, I don't know, 80-90% of the race, especially on endurance, because we know exactly, and you see, and of course you see the history of on the racing, especially. Guys, thank you so much for coming up. Until next time, I am back, Vlad Andrew, Filip Vava. Thank you so much, guys. Remember, guys, street is not circuit. You are the best, and hope you enjoy. Let's go racing. Vroom.